as El Chicano stared at this monstrosity that stood before him. He then had a flashback on the night his brother was murdered by a pale ghoul. And he then realized that it wasn't Jeff who killed his brother. It was this other pale ghoul. This pale ghoul was walking towards them. He then said with his raspy voice, "Why the long faces? New friends?" You're the one who murdered my brother," El Chicano said with anger in his voice. "Oh, I've killed many, many people in my time, kiddo. So, I don't really know which one it was." This other girl just laughed. "You son of a bitch! I'm gonna..." El Chicano started but got interrupted. "The name's Laughing Jack, kiddo. Don't wear it out." "So, that's the name that's been haunted me all these years," El Chicano said to himself. Just then, Ava and Leslie were still watching, at a far distance, but still hearing what was transpiring. "Laughing Jack? What kind of name is that?" Ava asked Leslie. "I don't know, maybe later we can ask Maria and see what she knows." Just as they both talked, El Chicano ran towards Laughing Jack, trying to stab him with his Aztec knife. Laughing Jack just simply dodged it. El Chicano turned quickly and threw 2 throwing knives. One missed, but one got Laughing Jack on the right arm. Laughing Jack then groaned a little, but then his big left hand slammed Chicano through a rusted car door. Chicano was knocked out. As that happened, Jeff rose up, looking at Jack. Well. Looks like we got ourselves a copycat of yours truly," Laughing Jack said to Jeff. "The only copycat here is you big ring-nosed freak," Jeff said with anger. Jeff threw one of his kitchen knives at Jack, but it just went through him, as if he was a ghost. The knife twirled next to El Chicano, barely getting up, the knife hitting his left seat, nearly missing him. As Jack was seeing El Chicano, Jeff tried to sneak attack Jack, but he simply grabbed him by the throat and slammed him multiple times on the ground. While Jeff used his other knife to stab Jack's hand, it simply had no effect. Ava and Leslie got a little closer to the fight. Leslie found the little box and held onto it. Both of the girls tried to help El Chicano onto his feet. "Come on, Danny, get up!" Leslie said to him. El Chicano then saw Leslie. "How do you know?" I just know. Okay? Leslie said to him. But just then, Danny saw the little box that she was holding. Danny felt as if he was backstabbed. "What? Where? What have both of you done?" he said, looking at both girls. Danny said this with fury in his voice. The girls then looked shocked and confused. "We just wanted to stop Jeff from killing people, and an expert told us that this was the way to stop him," Leslie said. Danny then used his right hand to grab his face in the "oh my god, you guys are idiots" moment. "Well, your way of stopping Jeff is the monster who murdered my brother." Both girls looked at each other. "Oh my god, we're sorry, we didn't know," Danny interrupted her. "You both have done enough. Just stay out of my way," Danny yelled at them, then went to fight both of these ghouls. Ava and Leslie now just felt guilty, setting free the monster that caused Danny a lot of pain. "What do we do now, Ava?" Leslie asked. She just simply stood silent for a moment. "We do the right thing," Ava said, pulling out her cell phone. She dialed and stated, "Yes. I want to report the location of Jeff the Killer and El Chicano, she said, pausing. As Laughing Jack finished slamming Jeff, he threw him to a tower of rusted cars. El Chicano was back in the game. El Chicano grabbed dirt from the ground and threw it at Laughing Jack, blinding him temporarily. El Chicano jumped up and stabbed Laughing Jack on his side. However, little did he know that Laughing Jack had no organs. It was nothing but stuffing. Chicano looked in horror and saw Laughing Jack laughing maniacally. No organs, kiddo? I'm nothing but your imagination. Laughing Jack then headbutted Chicano, grabbing his leg and swinging him around as if he was a rag doll. Just then, with luck, El Chicano had one last throwing knife, aiming it and bullseyeing it right onto Laughing Jack's eye. He then screeched with pain, and El Chicano had to think fast on how to bring him to his knees. He then targeted Jack's legs, and it worked, surprisingly, finally tasting the pleasure of killing the demon that's been the cause of his nightmares. Chicano then slashed with his Aztec war knife onto the back of Jack, crawling onto his knees, and then, later, Jack laying flat on his stomach. Chicano then rolled him over, crouching next to his face, staring into Jack's cold, heartless eyes. Way to go, kiddo! Do it! Finish me off! Come on! Laughing Jack said. Shut up, you ring-nosed freak. Do you know how much pain and suffering you've caused me? 18 years. And when you see the devil, tell him I said, like a bitch! Now you have my permission to die. El Chicano raised his Aztec knife, finally about to end this nightmare once and for all. The unexpected happened, though. A knife was then stabbed right through El Chicano's chest. He screamed in pain. Don't finish the party without me, Grim Reaper! Jeff said behind El Chicano in his right ear as he yanked his blade off of him and kicked him to the side. Chicano now lay in pain while losing blood and reflecting the memories he had with Raul when they were kids. Jeff then tried to finish the job with Jack, but Jack regained enough strength to get up and strike back, slashing him to his chest while punching him off. Jeff then was ready to swing back at Laughing Jack, until he heard a voice, off in the distance. A familiar one. Jeff! Jeff, over here! It said. He turned around, and for a second, Jeff couldn't believe what he saw. It was Lou. Lou? What are you doing here? He said to his brother. I've come to bring you home, Jeff. Okay, this needs to stop. Come leave with me and nobody will bother us ever again, he told them. Jeff then looked to the ground, trying to see if this was a trick. I've been looking for you since a lot of people have been telling their story about you. I knew I couldn't stop until we reunited again. Come with me, Jeff, please. Let's leave and never, ever look back, he told them. As Lou extended his hand, Jeff then reached out as well. Just as he did that, he heard a sinister, raspy laugh. Jeff then looked back from where he heard the laugh, and then he looked to see where Lou was. And to his horror, Laughing Jack was holding a dead corpse of Lou, playing with it as if it was a puppet. Jeff was enraged. He ran towards Laughing Jack, but instead he ran into a glass of a rusted door. Jeff groaned in pain. Whoops, Jeffrey boy. Looks like someone has a splitting headache. Laughing Jack said behind him. Jeff then shook it off and ran towards him with a leap, trying to stab Jack with both of his knives. But got caught then stood against each other, grunting, testing each other's strength. "Ah!" they heard, and saw Chicano running towards them, getting tackled down, except El Chicano had a K-bar knife penetrate Jeff through his throat. Jeff was gushing out blood from his throat and mouth, and then Chicano had his Aztec war knife penetrate Laughing Jack through his forehead. Panting hard, he stood up, giving a war cry to the heavens. He then fell to his knees and dropped backwards. Laughing Jack simply stood up, laughing. "You stupid kid! Did you really think that was gonna stop me?" Laughing Jack just continued laughing, raspily. "Maybe I did. Maybe I didn't," Chicano said in pain from the stab wound from Jeff. Just then, a helicopter was over them with a spotlight on them. Laughing Jack then grabbed both Jeff and Chicano by their throats, holding them. "I'm done playing nice, so I'll just kill you both," Laughing Jack said angrily. Jeff, however, was still alive. "Go to hell, you ring-nosed freak," Jeff said, spitting blood into Jack's face. "I'll see you both in hell," El Chicano said, then holding a detonator on his right hand. Chicano then pressed the red button. A red light flashed inside of Laughing Jack's chest. "Clever little..." What followed next was a huge explosion, erupting the force of it, pushing Ava and Leslie to the ground. As the morning rose for a new day, there were a lot of police and firefighters keeping back people from that junkyard. Leslie and Ava were being tended by the officers, asking them if they knew anything about the event that took place. The girls simply told them only that they saw El Chicano and Jeff the Killer, nothing else. But just then, a Captain Burke of LAPD told a sergeant to escort them back to the dorms at UCLA. And as they did that, a corporal came to inform the captain. "Sir, we couldn't find any bodies. We tripled police, called the area, didn't find anything. The whole site was a big mystery now. Ava and Leslie were resting at their dorm, until one of them exasperated. What a night." Yeah. I gotta be honest, though, this was, rather, the most fun I've had in years. They both giggled, but shortly got serious. "But in all seriousness, what happened to them? I heard the cops say that they didn't find any bodies," Leslie said. "I know, I heard that too. I mean, there's nothing we can really do about it. Besides, this was only the beginning of things. I get the feeling that there's more than meets the eye to everything," Ava said as they both sat down in their dorms. Later throughout the night, though, a drunk man was driving after coming back from a bar, swerving left and right, stopping at a nearby park, getting out of the car, and going into the trunk to open a box of beer. He got a can out, turned, and was face to face with Jeff. Except this time, he looked as if he just came from the depths of hell, with his face burned from one side, and seeing his row of teeth where his cheek used to be. Just then, Jeff slit his throat, gurgling with blood and stabbing him multiple times in the stomach. "Go to sleep," Jeff said, as he stole the man's car and drove away in the darkness. In the abandoned warehouse, Danny limbered over to the billboard and to the news clipboard. "Child murderer still on the loose. Now it's finally over. My brother. You have been avenged." Danny now felt like a heavy load off of his shoulders was just released. He then heard, "Excuse me?" Danny then pointed his 9mm pistol at the figure in the darkness. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to... Show yourself, Danny said vengefully. A little girl appeared from the darkness. The hell are you doing here, kid? Danny told her. I've actually been looking for you, Danny, the little girl said. Who the hell are you? Danny asked. My name is Gwen. Gwen Reyes. I'm your half-sister. Danny slowly put his pistol down with a shock on his face. Back in Maria's apartment, the news struck of the events of what happened at the junkyard, explaining the explosion, that it could have been caused by Jeff the Killer and Chicano, but there weren't any bodies found. Oh, Jack. Even someone like you couldn't get the job done. And you, Jeffrey, you always knew how to slither away like the snake that you are, Maria said. However, the shadow outline of Maria changed into a skinny woman with black hair and dark eyes. The figure went into a room with Maria asleep on her bed. Oh, don't worry, Maria. You'll wake up soon enough from your little accident. And as for you, Jeffrey, your death is upon you. Mark my words, your death will be very painful and will be lustful for my revenge.